Good morning. The pollen count is high today, and that means I am miserable. The pollen count is always never a source of joy for me, frankly, but it is always kind of a challenge. Another thing that is a challenge is when I see a police car behind me. You ever had that feeling? You're driving along and you see a police car pull behind you. What do you automatically do? I start going through the checklist. Am I speeding? Do I have my seatbelt on? Where is he going? Did he see what I just did? Why is it that we feel so guilty? I don't know. I just automatically assume if I see a police officer that surely I've done something wrong. I mean, come on. He wouldn't be there, right? That's what police officers do. They catch you doing stuff wrong. Some of you know that was about my past, and I never will forget a man one morning at about 2 o'clock in the morning in a little town called Powder Springs, Georgia. Powder Springs, Georgia, if you count cats and dogs and parakeets, have maybe, at that time, maybe 5,000 to 6,000 people, maybe. You count everything, everybody. And I remember we had, that was the section of Cobb County that we were working that night, and I was sitting watching a stop sign. 2 o'clock in the morning. Now, you've got to understand, there's nobody around. And so this guy comes up to the stop sign and just blows right through it. And he couldn't have not seen me, so consequently, guess what I do? Blue lights come on, I pull in behind him, he pulls over, and he is not happy. He is not a happy man. He is actually a very angry man. And he comments about my heritage and my mother and father not being married when I was born and all that kind of stuff. And he was not happy with me. What are you doing pulling me over at 2 o'clock in the morning? There's no traffic around. Why in the world are you giving me a hard time? Why are you pulling me over? Why aren't you out catching burglars? You know the song, don't you? Why aren't you catching out the bad guys? Well, what he didn't know is that as a DUI task force officer, that the percentage of people who run red lights or run stop signs after 11 p.m. in the evening, the percentage that they are intoxicated or driving under the influence goes up about 90%. And so I was checking. And what was going to be a warning if he was a good boy and just didn't pay any attention turned out to be the failure of the attitude test. And so to express to him the fact that the uniform and the badge and the police car isn't an empty symbol, I manifested what this full symbol meant. I wrote him a ticket. But you know, isn't that interesting? Because there's nothing more impotent as unenforced laws. Just look at our borders today. There is nothing more empty than to say you've got laws on the books and yet you never enforce them. You've got, and the idea that, well, the answer is more laws, give me a break. If you're not enforcing the ones you've got, how is passing more going to fix things? And that's the way it is, brothers and sisters, with empty symbolism, with empty thoughts and empty ideas. Things that represent one thing but never live up to what they represent. That's the weakness that we have, and the reason why on this Sunday of the Holy Fathers, as we remember all of the fathers of the 7 ecumenical councils, those heroes of our faith who stood in the face of an emptying out of our faith from its true meaning. Those men who stood and protected our faith from being emptied of its power, emptied of its authority, emptied of its effectiveness to do what the faith is meant to do. You know what the faith is meant to do, right? The faith is meant to change you. That's what the faith is meant to do. It's not meant to, pat you on the cheek and tuck you in bed and pull the covers up under your chin and read you a little bedtime story. The faith is meant to challenge us and to change us, to shape us and to mold us, to shape our priorities, our thoughts, our attitudes, our actions, our values. The faith is meant to instruct us and to teach us. Why, that's what light does, doesn't it? Doesn't light reveal and show the path? No wonder our Lord Jesus said today, you are the light of the world. Notice he didn't say, you should be the light of the world. He didn't say, if you really work hard, you can become the light of the world. Jesus didn't say that. Jesus said to his followers, you are the light of the world. And if the light don't shine, what happens to the world? It's gripped by darkness. Brothers and sisters, saints of God, precious Orthodox Christians, you are the light of the world. If you ain't shining, that ain't the light's fault. You are the light of the world. If your life isn't being changed by that light, if your community isn't being changed by that light, if your family isn't being changed by that light, it isn't the light's fault. It's the receptacle. It's the weakness of being something and not living up to what you're called to be. And that's the reason why Jesus was so emphatic today. In our gospel lesson, he told us, you are the light of the world. A city set on a hill can't be hid. It's not that it won't be hid, and it's not that it should be hid. It can't. It's not ontologically possible to put a city on a hill and hide it. You can't do it. You are the light of the world. It is not ontologically possible for you not to be the light of the world. That's what you are. Now, if you don't live up to that, that's another issue. That's the reason why Jesus went on to say, I haven't come to abolish the law and the prophets. I've come to fulfill them. Because you see, Jesus is the light that we reflect to the world. And him being the light of the world, him being the light for all humanity, to show us the way out of darkness, to show us the way out of confusion, to show us the way out of pain, to show us the way out of our own selfish problems that we create for ourselves. Jesus, being the light of the world, says to us, you are called to accurately and fully reflect the light that I give you. I haven't come to destroy anything. I've come to fulfill. I've come to allow the law to do what it was always meant to do, and that was to bring men and women back to God. And so it is with our faith this morning, brothers and sisters. Our faith is the light of the world. Our Orthodox faith is the light for civilization. Our Orthodox faith has throughout the centuries not just simply been a philosophy of good intentions, but our faith has actually shaped whole cultures, changed languages, created languages. Just ask the Indians in Alaska. The Orthodox faith created the Alaskan Indian languages as the Orthodox missionaries there translated the faith into the languages of the Alaskan Indians a few centuries ago. And so with that being the truth, with our faith being the foundation for civilization and language and culture and progress and activity, my brothers and sisters, today in Cumming, Georgia, at Saints Raphael, Nicholas, and Irene Greek Orthodox Church, you are the light of the world. And light is meant to dispel darkness. Light is meant to dispel confusion. Light is meant to bring clarity and focus and vision and purpose. That's what light does. And so this morning, my brothers and sisters, on this day that we remember the fathers of the Ecumenical Council, I want to challenge you to be what you are. I want to challenge you to be the light of the world, your world. To be the light of Jesus Christ in your home. To be the light of Jesus Christ at your spouse. To be the light of Jesus Christ among your children. To be the light of Jesus Christ at your office, where you work, in the factory. To be the light of Jesus Christ wherever you go, so that everyone around you, what does Jesus say? So that the world will see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. This morning, you are the light of the world. You should be that.